Well, the town board meeting for the town of Tusten back to order. I spoke with Ken today. He does not have a response from bond council, so we're not gonna be able to do that until the work session.
Okay.
The only other business I can bring before the board at this point in time is the ceiling structure upstairs. Kawachi he will be able to come in, young Kawachi will be able to come in on Thursday, and start the demo. I don't know if anybody's seen upstairs, but what it is there's the two rooms, the two ceilings. They've got the drop ceiling, then we have the old ceiling from the ambulance building. What happened was the old ceiling from the ambulance building let loose and came down and hit the drop ceiling and then came through a piece of the tile in the drop ceiling. At this point,
So what has to be done?
I think at this point, the safest thing to do is take the rest of that upper ceiling out,
Right,
take the drop ceiling down. And then the board needs to decide how we want to move forward with that project and the rest. I did speak to one contractor and their suggestion was, well, you've got it open, spray foam insulate the roof part, the old roof part where it comes from the building, the additional part that we have. We can start to get quotes on that. We can do the demo work under emergency, but we're not gonna be able to do the renovation work. We're gonna have to follow the procurement policy on that. I did speak with Crystal and Kelly. I think once we get the demo work done, they can get back in the office until we figure out what we're gonna do as far as
so is anybody sitting at Ken's desk?
nobody's in the office at all.
Oh,
And the girls, it's right now, it's completely empty with the exception of the file cabinets. All the books, computers, everything are moved so that they can cover up what's there. So that when Kawachi comes in and starts demo and everything,
It's Tommy or Tom?
Tommy.
Mhm. Okay,
But it does bring up a pretty interesting point as far as if we're going to stay in this building and do our renovations, or if we're going to look elsewhere to do something, because it makes quite a logistical.
right, and I did meet with Buck, remember I met with Buck and he was happy to make this. In my mind, it's a program that he's making that says the bookkeeper needs this much space and has to be adjacent to blah, blah, blah. And then you plug it in and find out how much space. But it was pricey.
It was pricey and time consuming, probably, time wise.
I'm sure there is some time to it, yes. Because he would have to interview each of the girls and get their needs. But it's the right way to do it. I mean, what you're saying is. get
I think
rid
we
of
need to
this-
make a decision as a board. Do we stay in this building and renovate, or do we
Look elsewhere.
look elsewhere? And I think that's a good conversation for the work session.
Right.
I can work with Kelly. I'll volunteer her to help me find out the cost of the modules
Mhm.
that they put up, and then we can,
Modules, who put up?
you can buy modules on state bid, much like Coshecton has.
Their fire department,
Their town hall
town, okay,
is actually a module construction with the exception of the basement.
okay. Is there fire thing?
I don't think so. That's a big building.
Yeah.
Well, nonetheless, you still need Buck or somebody to figure out how much square footage you need and all that kind of stuff.
How much did he want?
You're gonna have to look, it was a lot. Like
More than 20?
Yeah.
Well, I will work on the module stuff.
Uh,
And maybe you
get,
can,
and I'll pull up my notes
on
on
Buck,
Buck. And.
we'll get that demoed out, at least for the ceiling, so they have someplace safe to work. We'll probably have to get some lighting system.
But if we go elsewhere, what are you thinking with this building?
We would have to, I don't know, we would sell it. Do we want to continue to own it and rent it out?
Would the module have the community center?
Yeah, that's what we would have to put everything together.
What if Tusten Social got a community center?
Then we can, well, I think the community center will still be the court, and it'll still be a multi-use room.
Mhm.
And the modular would have to be on a property.
it would. Because if we're gonna renovate this building, I think that issue would be, we'll definitely lose community space in here in order to gain office space. But we've got some use, we can par down the kitchen.
Yeah,
But we also, I mean, there's a ton of stuff that needs to be done too, that rampway up there, that needs to be addressed with the wall in the back corner here.
yeah, along the back corners. Okay.
Has anyone ever expressed interest in this building? You said some
Oh,
theater.
a million people have, right?
There are a lot of people that.
With the theater though, are you thinking?
Well,
with
the theater would have to go with it, and then, you know, we'd have to sit down with Ariel and say, listen, you know, how is this gonna work? I know I had the conversation with him when the Delaware Valley Opera left, because it was like they went and spent all that money on that, then they could have.
Well, the offer was supposed to be renting.
Yeah, I mean, could we maybe before the work session, get a little tour of what's going on up there?
You can go look at it today.
Yeah, we can do that when we're.
How will that change things though?
Just to see what's, you know.
No,
what
it would
this-
be interesting to see, but
Yeah.
the issue is the issue. I don't, the community doesn't want us to give this up, right?
They don't, but then they need to be prepared for what the cost of the renovation and the fact that they're gonna have a smaller community room, and I mean, I see 15 years ago, I would say, you know, you don't want your town hall to move out of town. You know, which basically the highway is, but at this point in time, you know, nothing has been done with this building. We've got netting underneath there to catch
Yeah.
stuff that falls off, but there was nothing that ever followed up, including the 3 years that I've been back, you know.
No, I know.
I've not addressed that at all.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the modular comparison is good because we have an apples to
Right.
apples kind of thing. But just to play devil's advocate, and I was all for moving out of this building a long time ago, and just is that we've got so many big irons in the fire, you know?
Yep.
Uh,
This will be a big one too, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Regardless of how we do it.
Yeah, between the culvert and the water system.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in terms of, you know, explaining to the taxpayers
Yeah,
about a lot of money.
And then raise their sewer bill.
Yeah.
thank God I'm not on that committee.
Yeah, well, somebody's not off the board in a couple of months.
Can you stop that?
All right, for the record, I hate modules.
That's
They look,
fine too. I mean,
yeah. I mean, this has character.
well, I think either way, whatever the board decides, I think it's something that we should start, because we know how slow things are.
Yes,
It's
we
something,
do know how it's.
yeah, it's something I think that unfortunately we do need to move on.
Bruce, what do you think?
Well, I'm all for getting out of this building and selling it to the opera and let them do whatever they want.
Well, the opera won't buy it
Or
because they
whoever,
bought
you
the
know.
nutshell, but some,
You know,
and DVAA, I doubt that they'll buy it.
this building's gonna take a lot of money to put
It will,
there. This is just a money pit, really, to me.
because nothing's been done all along.
And we're growing.
What?
That's the hardest part is our offices, everything is growing.
Yeah, it's one thing if we can. I mean, we've got plenty of room for office space, but if people want a community hall with office space, that's where they're gonna fall short in this building.
And do we have room for a court and office space here?
I would say so, yeah, because the court's gonna end up sharing the meeting space, just like they do now.
But you still have to fix the building.
What, sharing space?
No.
No, sharing space renovating the state.
We're in the same building. Yeah, the state's not gonna win this one. We're not gonna have a separate court. We just don't have the space for it. Unless you want a very small court,
I
which will
understand.
be about the size of
I'm only-
the inside of the kitchen.
Why do we need more?
For the court has a whole the whole jurisdiction, the Office of Court Administration dictates, like, if we were to move from this building and go into another building, they would dictate what the court has as far as entrances, exits,
Yeah.
size. But they also give money for renovations and stuff like that. So, you know, it's something that we could theoretically put in, when is it, like May or June,
July,
July?
but it's October, actually.
Yeah, it would have to be in this October.
I mean, to your point,
It's not-
Jane, about modulars,
Yeah.
they're charmless. And, but that's coming from the library board. This is the least charming of our libraries, but probably the easiest to maintain. And with inside, it works, you know what I'm saying? You know, the Calicoon thing has the most charm in the world, and it's just the money. thing.
It's like this,
Yeah.
you know,
And the Jeff thing, Jeff is closer to this. This sort of a hodgepodge of.
Hi, Kathleen. Well,
I'll pay for that later. She doesn't realize she's on camera.
No, she doesn't.
oh, well,
Yeah, maybe I can bring up some stuff as far as pictures and stuff, what the ones look like. I mean,
and I'll try to, bring up the paperwork or to speak to Buck or something. Because, I mean, his other thing is sustainability.
Yeah, I mean, Buck is he's gonna want 100 R insulation and 30 R.
But he says it's not
See, if we're going
necessarily
with a-
more expensive.
a modular building, that's gonna all be pre-constructed before it arrives.
Right.
Which may or may not be good.
A sticker on it.
Yeah, because it's all synthetic. Or whatever. Or whatever, I don't know, my building material.
Is everybody gonna go upstairs or just Kevin and
Yeah,
I?
no,
I'll
I'm
look
going
at
up
it, just like
to,
to see where, you know.
Then, so when if they have to, any rewiring that they have to do, that's still part of the demo-ish.
Yeah, because they're gonna be pulling wires out.
well, that was supposed to be done years ago. The rewiring.
None of this became apparent when they were redoing the roof a couple, 5 years.
No, this is inside.
Yeah.
This is all inside. And actually, I don't know, probably a year or so ago, I was up on the desks. Not even a year ago. Something was
Months ago.
going on, you know, and I was up there looking at everything and, you know,
Oh,
it didn't look to me like we're gonna have an issue.
No.
With anything,
we
it just
saw that
looked solid.
before that.
Right.
So when they called and sent me the picture, I was like, oh, you know, that's why it was like. If it looked good a month or 2, 3 months ago. And that happened, then I don't think we can leave the rest of it the way it is.
Yeah.
no, I don't disagree with that. That's just first step of renovation. Where do you think, you want a new building?
I want one right behind the library.
Yeah, me too. But that library board wouldn't give.
Oh, there's some hard people on that board.
What
Not our
pains in the
idea.
neck?
No, that was the town's fault. The town should have just deeded over the footprint.
Don't be so kind. It's the
Well, that's true.
library's
No,
fault now.
I think if they just deeded it over that way. We could put it on the backside of the building over there and just lose the parking.
A community garden that charges $100 per plot was in the paper. It's all right.
Goes towards rent. So we'll go upstairs, take a look at
Yeah.
everything. Then we'll come
Do we
back.
have to adjourn?
No, we'll go up as a regular meeting.
Okay.
That's the only way actually we can do it is through a
Oh, okay.
actual meeting, and then we can come back downstairs and adjourn and
Okay.
call it a day.
Oh, go up. Oh, because we're all going up. All right, I'm leaving this stuff here.
Huh?
I can show everybody what the.
You hear screams sort of.
Yes.
Welcome back. You got dirt in your hair now.
Oh, look at Greg.
Don't trip.
So nice.
How was your tour?
Actually, it was good. I think, what's that? drop ceiling leaves the area, it'll seem much more open.
It seem open, but it-
With flames from the rafters.
there you go, like, well, monkey.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, got a second. All in favor?
Right.
Opposed? We'll see everybody at the work session.